Hey, Sound Up fans, it's Mark Goodman here. To stay connected to everything happening in the world of music, make sure to subscribe to this podcast, Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light. Join the conversations, experience live events, and be a part of the podcast. To get in on the action, check out our website at sounduppod.com. Like and follow us on social media at sounduppod and email us at connect@sounduppod.com.
This is Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters.
Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
This week on Sound Up, legendary vocalist, guitarist, solo artist, and former member of the Moody Blues, Justin Hayward, joins us to discuss his upcoming tour and more.
Another Rock and Roll Hall of Famer joining us here on Sound Up. Plus, we're going to revisit some Coachella highlights, including Weezer's set following, maybe you heard this, a very strange story involving the bass player's wife in a police shootout. Also, in Indio, California, Green Day's Billie Joe Armstrong joined the Go-Go's. And in some other news, J-Lo is going to host one of the big awards shows. And Katy Perry went up and came back down from outer space.
Plus, our new music picks of the week and comments on our Throwback Thursday question. What is your favorite band logo? It's all happening on Sound Up.
Didn't have any, I got no, didn't go see any music this week. Too busy with other stuff happening. Had some fun, not music stuff this week, but no live stuff to report back.
Same with me. I got no live stuff. I went to a couple of great restaurants, though.
Counts for something.
we can review those later.
Different types of reviews, Mark.
Definitely different. Not our stock and trade here. No. So that means, if you want, we could just leap right into the news, because I was so taken up doing family stuff all weekend long. I didn't see or hear anything about Coachella. I heard just this one thing about the Weezer. Let's do the Weezer story first.
Yeah, I think that's news.
I'm trying to wrap my head around what has actually happened. Now, they did play Coachella, as we said, Saturday night, and apparently slipping a Metallica cover into the set. Near the end of the performance, the band did Enter Sandman, a song that they have played live consistently over the last couple of years. They covered the song for the 2021 album Blacklist, the entire LP of Metallica covers by a bunch of different artists. So the update, Scott Schreiner's wife. The Coachella performance from the band came just days after the news broke that Scott's wife, Jillian Lauren, was shot by police, then booked for attempted murder as law enforcement was pursuing suspects in an LA hit and run. According to the LA Police Department, Lauren was asked to drop her weapon multiple times when she refused and pointed her gun at officers, and police fired. She shows up with a gun in hand.
Well, she was this was at her home.
Yes.
And this story is so bizarre for a couple of reasons. One, it would make sense that, you're involved in a hit and run and cops are telling you to put down your weapon. But apparently she had nothing to do with the hit and run.
Right.
So I don't know, did these three suspects run into her house? I don't know. That's where this whole thing gets really fuzzy.
Something is missing in this story. There's a hit and run, there's a police chase, and then she's coming out with her weapon drawn and won't drop it, and the cops shoot her. What?
There's a missing piece there.
As we jump over some of the story here, it's very odd. I haven't seen any further information since the initial reports happened.
No.
I guess that he, posted something saying she's okay and we'll see you at Coachella. We're going ahead and playing our set. They played their set, which you forget a little bit how many hits maybe just I do. You look at that set, there's a lot of big-ass Weezer songs.
For a crowd like that, that's a great band to have.
And a tight, they did 12 songs. I mean, they did a festival set. They did not do their big stadium set, and it's kind of just one big knockout after another. But we got to hear more about what this actually is.
Yeah. Why does a woman show up when the police are chasing someone on a hit and run? Why does she show up with her gun drawn? That's the question.
And why not drop it when police say, hey.
Right. That would indicate that she felt in some way threatened. So there's definitely, as you say, Alan, there's several paragraphs that are missing from this story.
So there's that. Lots of other Coachella news, nothing quite as dramatic as that the rest of the weekend. Ahead of Green Day's headlining set, and I heard only great things, by the way, about Green Day's headlining set. I feel like maybe it's been long enough that, again, Green Day sort of reminding everybody about all those songs. But ahead of their set, Billie Joe Armstrong showed up on stage with the Go-Go's in their afternoon set at Coachella, another summit of Rock and Roll Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
In the hours leading up to the collaboration, Billie Joe teased a special surprise, saying, "Go see the Go-Go's." Guess that's more than a tease of a special surprise. And then he celebrated afterwards, posting head over heels after playing with the Go-Go's at Coachella, and a bunch of photos from the performance. The Go-Go's posted, "We had the time of our lives." So he joined them to play head over heels, one of the highlight moments. But a bunch of things that I was hearing a lot of people talking about. I only watched a couple of clips along the way. A lot of talk about this very epic, big, ambitious Lady Gaga set. People who loved it, people who didn't love it as much. Our friend, big fan, and our former colleague Carrie was texting me saying, "Oh my God, this is truly iconic, epic, massive performance that she gave." Was also getting reports from our girl SoCal Music Gal saying it's too much. It's all sort of a mess, and referring to this as mayhem. Which is actually kind of clever, April. Kind of good.
That is.
So,
I'll give her that.
So there's that.
I saw those things that our friend April was writing, and what was the mess? I mean, she has her band, she does her thing. What was
bunch of sets, very theatrical, very sort of operatic, moving through different acts and stages, and just a whole lot going on, which, to be fair, others have done for headlining Coachella. It's not like, it ain't like Coachella means you're doing an unplugged set. Those who loved it seem to love the scale of it, but at least from her response was like it was a little too much. It was a little jumbled from trying to do all of that.
I think Charlie XCX won the award for best guest spots on her set, bringing out Lorde, bringing out Billie Eilish. Like, she really brought it to Coachella.
That's the all-star. Although the other big guest star moment that I was seeing a lot was Benson Boone, who did Bohemian Rhapsody with special guest Brian May playing the guitar.
That is pretty
massive. That's a flex right there.
Yep.
I'm going to do Bohemian Rhapsody, and I'm going to do it with Brian May.
And that's the first time that Brian May ever played Coachella.
And I got to say, Benson Boone did a good job.
Solid
job. Solid. I mean,
how many
tricky
flips?
Song to do.
Flip over Brian May.
Over Brian May as he played, as he was unboxing something.
Brian May's too tall to do that for.
Lots of talk about MIssy Elliott's set, just as a slam dunk. Not a surprise.
Missy sort of leans in the direction, don't you think, of what Coachella had been known for doing, pulling these classic acts. And same thing with the Go-Go's. I mean, it's not like it's been years and years and years since they've reunited, but still, they reunited.
Cool legacy moments. Yeah.
Yeah. And the same with Missy. I mean, any reports on Missy, she's always amazing.
It's a good space for her.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, I didn't really see any of this, but this LA Philharmonic set.
What the hell?
That Gustavo Dudamel put together, and did not reveal any of the guests ahead of time for full surprise. They practiced in secret, but guests including Maren Morris, including Leve, who we were talking about last week, and including LL Cool J. So these are things to go back and check for online. Obviously, all of it was streaming, so all of it is circulating. Now, I don't know if that means when they do that again, I guess they'll do it again next week. Will the Philharmonic do it with the same guests, or will they do another surprise? Yeah. Did they do an actual second set to keep it a surprise the second time around?
Right.
There were a lot of reports this time around. Usually Coachella runs fairly smoothly, but a lot of traffic was horrible. There was a lot of issues
traffic stuff
surrounding this. Yeah.
To get into the camping area was apparently very difficult and backed up. And
wow. If people are responding in that way, because it always sucks. It always is absolute. Palm Springs is overrun when Coachella is happening. So I can't imagine what got worse. That's frightening.
If you were there, hit us up. Connect
Please.
at sounduppod.com, especially since there'll be the second second time around next weekend. Anything that you saw, anything you want to compare, any thoughts that you have, email us, connect@sounduppod.com, or even if you were just watching the streams, anything that was standing out to you. So.
Love to get your take on it for sure. Also in the news, J-Lo is back. She's going to be hosting the American Music Awards coming up in May. It's her second time hosting this the Kudo Fest, 10 years after she debuted handling those duties in 2015. And everybody, of course, thrilled to welcome J-Lo back. Apparently not, she's bounced back from the whole Ben Affleck thing and is feeling completely positive and looking forward.
Ready to put herself back out there. So.
Why do you need to host this show, though?
Why not? I don't know. I mean,
what else are you doing?
What are you going to say?
Come on, it's the award show that if you show up, you're getting an award. So if you host, does that mean you're getting like a Lifetime Achievement Award or something?
Does a J-Lo host slot move the ratings needle or interest needle for the American Music Awards?
One wonders.
I can't really call that at this moment in history.
The producers have previously announced the show is going to use its new Memorial Day slot to pay special tribute to our U.S. troops and veterans through authentic performances and unforgettable moments. And the first time the show has been on CBS after a long-term deal with ABC. There was a timeout between those deals, but they're back. The rating success of the American Music Awards, their 50th anniversary special, this is what I think is why these guys are sort of leaning into it and trying to beef up the appearance of the shows. So we'll see how we do come May.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Have a good time, kids.
Have a good time.
and finally, Katy Perry shot into space on Monday morning. Katy Perry and Gayle King of CBS Mornings were among the 6 passengers on the all-female voyage to the edge of space via the Blue Origin space travel business. The New Shepard rocket went up 9:30 a.m. on Monday morning, an 8-minute flight, which traveled more than 62 miles into the atmosphere past the Kármán line, the internationally recognized boundary of space. Module containing the astronauts suspended from 3 parachutes landed several minutes after the rocket did.
I could have sworn I was watching. Did you watch?
I didn't watch.
I swear that I heard Gayle King shrieking during the takeoff.
Fair enough.
She was terrified. I'm not exaggerating. I feel like they had mics in there because once they got up there, they were able to speak. And
so on Sunday, Katy Perry had posted, "I gotta sing in space." She said, "It won't be about me. It will be all about this beautiful Earth. From up there, we will think, oh my God, we have to protect our mother." But Katy did indeed sing during the flight. This was apparently unclear during the broadcast. You were listening. But Gayle King later revealed that Katy sang "What a Wonderful World" while in space. I've covered that song in the past. Obviously, my higher self is steering the ship. I had no clue I'd one day decide to sing a little bit of that in space. It's not about me. It's not about singing my songs. It's about a collective energy and making space for future women. It's about this wonderful world that we see right out there and appreciating it. This is all for the benefit of Earth. So you were watching. You couldn't hear what she was singing?
No. I could not. No. That's why I was surprised to hear that was happening. I could have sworn, I'm not exaggerating. I swear I heard somebody shrieking.
That's what you could hear. You couldn't hear the singing. You could just hear the panic. You could just hear the terror.
And coming back down too, when they're splashing down. Oh man, I will admit to being incredibly envious. And if I had the extra cash, I would be a space tourist for sure. I don't know about you guys. I know that's not something I will ever experience, sadly. No desire from you guys?
I don't know.
No?
Roger, you ready to get shot into space?
Why?
Why? Oh God, I would in a heartbeat.
I mean, so you can feel weightlessness, which they can simulate here on Earth.
Yeah.
I rather do it here. What do you get from this?
Great view.
Nice. Can you take photos? Like what? I don't know.
Somebody else is taking photos. I think you're
exactly. So I'm just going along for this kooky ride, which could end up in my death. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Well, that's for the future. You know, once this podcast really blows up, I think we're all going to be going to space.
Don't say blows up.
Oh
That
shit!
is
Right.
absolutely
Damn,
not.
bad choice of words. Sorry.
I mean, if we could do the show from space, all of us floating around, that could be cool.
It would be great. It would be great. All right, so there's our look at some of the wild stuff happening in music news so far this week. We're going to take a pause, and as promised, we have one of the early. Actually, he's a second round Moody Blue.
Slightly second round, though, there for an awfully long time.
He came in the 60s, so I always have counted him as a founding member, even though officially he was not. Justin Hayward has some new music out, a great cover song, which you may have heard, and some live dates coming up. We're going to talk with Justin Hayward next on Sound Up. All right, welcome back to Sound Up. As promised, really excited to welcome, I think, the guy who probably turned me on to concept music, unless we're talking Frank Sinatra's Wee Small Hours of the Morning. I think the Moody Blues were certainly the band that introduced concept records to everyone, and one of the almost founding members. Justin Hayward joins us. Sir, welcome to Sound Up. We're thrilled to have you on the show, and congrats on some new music out.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that welcome. Thank you for everything you said. Nice to be with you, boys.
You just lay it out for us. You've covered a wonderful song called Life in a Northern Town. The Dream Academy did it originally, and it seems sort of a left turn. All of a sudden, you guys decided to do this song.
Well, I worked with the London Philharmonic and Mike Batt a few years ago. Mike Batt and myself have known each other since we were young. And so I did a project with him that he was previewing a project before it went into the West End. And it was based on a Lewis Carroll story called A Hunting of the Snark. And we did that together. And then we would just be friends. We would say, wouldn't it be nice to do something? And then we had some contacts with the direction of the London Philharmonic. And we all agreed that it would be nice to do an album of popular songs, but with in an orchestral way with no rhythm section. So a few years ago, we made an album called Classic Blue, and along those lines. And it's still around. And then last year, this sort of opened up again. Everybody was in touch again. And we looked through our list of songs that we would like to do. And Life in a Northern Town was one of those. I love those Dream Academy things. I mean, they made a record called The Love Parade as well, which I don't know anybody else knew. But I love that as well. But Life in a Northern Town is so lovely. And so we had a session with the London Philharmonic and did that. Yeah.
Has there been any sort of driving idea behind the songs that you've chosen for the album and now going back in? Or is it just, these are songs we like and seems like they may work and let's give them a run?
I think I always have to, I'm old enough now to be able to say that there's never any plan or strategy. The Moody Blues, there was no plan or strategy except to maybe get a Ford Transit van. That's about as far as it
was the dream.
The other things, yeah. The other things you just fall into and they happen, and that's great. It's brilliant. This is a lovely song and suited my voice. I was able to use my own microphone, and that's it. Wish I could say I planned every flipping minute of everything, but cannot.
Well, what is, you say there's a list of songs, and we know that you and Mike Batt had worked together many years ago and been working on things. So then going forward, is it going to be a sort of a retrospective of songs that Justin and Matt like? That'll be the album title.
Yes, that's about it.
Huh? It's just as simple as that. And it's not as though you're not used to working, certainly with an orchestra. Why now? Why would you go back to these to working like that now?
No plan, no strategy. These things just happen in the same room, in touch with people. Direction of the London Philharmonic, Mike. Wouldn't it be nice? Let's pick up the phone and let's do it. And that's where it rests. Yeah.
So you have Justin Hayward dates happening,
Yes.
touring. And what has been the trends after so many decades of Moody Blues work? Moody Blues work live and on stage and touring. Was it an easy shift for you into the solo presentation? Did that take some adjustment? What's the compare and contrast for the experience?
It's about the songs. It's all about the songs, really. And I realized that a long time ago. And I think I'm just enjoying the songs that a lot of these songs I never did on stage before. They're songs that there were a day or so in the studio, and you record them, and then you just move on. But I'm enjoying this particular format. I met Mike Dawes, guitar genius, and he learned a couple of my things, and it just kind of fell into place. Julie Reagans, who sings with me, the voice of an angel, and does all the harmonies that I did with myself on the records. And I'm just really liking this format now, and I get to play in really nice places. And the theatres and the performing arts centres, I'm really kind of comfortable with it. It's a small crew, and they look after me well. I get the right kind of biscuits,
But was it again, was that an easy shift? Was it almost, in some ways a relief to not be thinking within the band presentation and within sort of the grandeur of what a Moody Blues show would be, but to rethink all that in a way that's, could be about what you like and about the biscuits you like and about the mic that you like. That, did that take shifting the perspective a little bit, or, could you sort of fall into that?
I think it was a natural thing only for me, because that's how I made my demos at home. That's how the songs were written. But they were written in a small way. I know I always kind of knew I'm the son of two teachers. I always had my homework ready. And I would always, when I go into the studio, I knew what the bass line was going to be. I knew what the drums were going to be. And so I had that part in my head. The bit that often surprised me with the Moody's was the bit that Mike Pinder did with the Mellotron, and I would think, oh, that's really nice, to put that level on it. But this way of doing it, I'm back to really what my demos were like. And of course, since the Tony Visconti days in the 1980s, I've been able to play my own keyboards on these records. So I'm just being kind of selfish right now, I think, and just doing exactly what I wanted to do. And I know what you mean about, is it a big jump or everything? Not really. Not really. No, I'm still in my own world, and I'm still doing my own thing. And actually, I'm playing a lot of the same places that we played with the Moody's as well, which is nice.
Can you tell us what the live shows will be like? It's going to be you're not touring with an orchestra.
No.
So maybe touring with a Mellotron.
Oh, well, everything's in a box now, isn't it?
Indeed.
So yes, I mean, Julie, who plays keyboards as well, has that all under her hands and her fingertips. And so, I'm a guitar player who sings and writes songs. That's what I'm doing. Indeed. I think it's as simple as that. And
we get a sort of a broad pastiche of you over the years, some Moody, some solo, some of your favorite tunes. Is that what it's going to sound like?
Yes.
Okay, I'm there.
That's simple as that. No, but it must have been certainly must have been already a challenge over the years. As you said, there's the early Moody stuff, there's the 60s stuff, there's the Tony Visconti era stuff. Figuring out what a later era Moody Blues show was probably enough of a thing to wrestle into shape. Now adding these songs where you're going to have to shift the arrangements from the recordings. How do you think about, slotting all of that together? You said it's all about the songs, but certainly people are used to hearing these in some very different ways across the decades. And you're trying to, there's a lot of ground to try to make into an evening.
Well, not if you've got the songs. The issue with my set list is not what I play, it's what I leave out. And every time I turn up at rehearsals, and yesterday I was with my little gang, and I'm saying, oh, by the way, I'm going to do this and we're going to do that, and they've got, oh, great, I love that, and then so that means I'm going to have to drop this, and I'm going to drop, oh no, I can't do that. So it's that's kind of an issue. But apart from that, it's yes, I like the quieter way it is. I like being able to hear exactly what we're all doing. Carmen Gould, who plays flute, there was you probably know there's a lot of flute from the early days that Ray did that's kind of iconic stuff and that's identifiable pieces. So, and Carmen knew all of those because there are not that many rock and roll flute players to really listen and be and choose from. So fortunately, even with the early Moody Blues albums, if you listen to the mix, the acoustic guitar was often up front with the voices, and that's how it was. In the Moody's, we did. I understand what you're kind of saying. But we did become two different bands, which is probably why Mike left. I'm not going to put words into, my late partner's mouth, but that's so we became the recording band that was handled very well in the recording studio by Decca, beautifully recorded in that lovely stereo spread before anybody else was doing that. That's a Decca thing, not a plan by the Moody Blues or strategy, but by Decca. And then we became a touring band that I went from an AC30 to a 50-watt Marshall to a 100-watt Marshall to a 200-watt to a 400-watt high-watt stack. And then, so there was the same people were doing the recording band and the touring band. And those things were difficult to reconcile a lot of the time.
I know we're on a tight schedule. We've got to respect
I'm good.
A couple of quick questions to go through as well. But before we jump to that, I think that the last time we spoke to you was around the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction.
Yes.
It was a couple of years ago on our radio show. And I am curious because I know at the time, you guys were saying, we didn't really know what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was all about. This was a thing that, was sort of new and exciting for us to experience and see. Do you feel like that, was there any sort of lasting reframing for you of what the band did, what the Moody Blues meant, what the legacy was? I know in the moment you were all sort of saying that we didn't expect all our fans to vote, to show up and to celebrate us in this way. But with some distance, is it a thing that, you think about in terms of, that kind of helps define what it is that we did over that time?
You're absolutely right. And I think that it validated the music for the Moody Blues fans who'd wanted that for so long, the American fans. Trying to explain anything else, I was given an investiture a couple of years ago, trying to explain things around the world. Julie said, "Is that you're kind of Duke now or something?" Because I was awarded an OBE by the late Queen, and it's trying to explain the Hall of Fame to people in the rest of the world. It's like, what is that? Who cares? I don't know that. So it was a tremendous validation of the greatest of a country with the greatest music in the world. It's the land of my heroes. But all of us who were able to be there of the band, it was just the greatest. It was just the greatest thing. And when you say that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they have to open that door and make it so that you're nominated for that, and then people can vote for you. And with the Moody Blues, it was like a tidal wave. The door opened, and there was no question. Of course, there's always things like The Simpsons. We were on The Simpsons.
Yes.
And that's
validation. Let's say
that is validation around the world.
With that in mind, one more. We have a couple of questions that we like to ask to all of our guests, but I'm curious, based on what you were just saying to Alan about the Rock Hall induction. Part of the reason that a band gets inducted is because of the shadow that they cast. The how long a shadow. How do you look at the shadow that the Moody's cast? Who are your acolytes? Where do you see the Moody's influence today?
No, I don't know. No, I don't know. Is there a Moody's influence today? I'm not sure. Subliminal, maybe. It's a curious thing, though, what you said. I mean, when I meet people and then they sort of Google you, I know they Google me. It's like, I met this guy Hayward, and I'll Google it. And what's his story? What's the deal with him? And then, of course, Days of Future Past is just mentioned, and it's like, that was that I used to play that every morning. It's one of those things, and I think that is the record, and that I have to give no plan, no strategy. I have to give it to Decca and to Hugh Mendel, one of the elderly gentlemen at Decca who believed in the band. We didn't have a recording contract. He was the guy who believed in us, and it was his idea. I wanted to make monopop records, but his idea was to make brilliant stereo demonstration records, and he was right.
Demo records.
Visionary.
I love that.
All right.
All right. So we have 3 questions that we like to ask all of our guests, just sort of off the top of your head, shoot from the hip kinds of questions. First up is, what was your first portable music device?
Oh, my first portable music device. My late brother made a crystal radio set, and we could listen to Radio Luxembourg in our room without having to ask permission to turn the radio on and listen to the late program on the BBC. So that was it. That we could go anywhere with that, with his little crystal set. It was only a circuit board, but it was brilliant.
Huh.
That Radio Luxembourg, those pirate stations we know changed the world.
Absolutely.
Second question. Which concert do you remember? What's the most memorable concert you've ever attended? What do you first think of?
Joe Brown and the Brothers. Joe Brown's English rock and roll. He was in the same stable as Marty Wilde. My first gig as a guitar player was with Marty Wilde, a rock and roll singer. I was his guitar player for a couple of years before I joined the Moody's. When I was at home in Swindon, me and my girlfriend went to see Joe Brown, and who'd had a couple of hits, and he was playing a Gibson ES335 Dot, 1959. And man, that was just paradise.
That was it.
That kind of clanky 335 Gibson sound. It's like, I want that. Yeah.
All right, final question. Who is your biggest influence?
Oh, I can't have just one. The very first one when I was a small boy was Johnny Ray. Anybody remember with Johnny Ray?
Absolutely. Cry?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then Buddy Holly, of course. Buddy Holly. 3 chords, magic.
Indeed. All right.
Life in a Northern Town is out in the world. Tour dates are happening for Justin Hayward now. Check local listings and all that. And hopefully some more music forthcoming. I know there's nothing you're committing to, but I'm going to assume that this is not the end of this project.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Hayward, thank you so much for stopping by here and saying hi. All right, welcome back to Sound Up. Now, before we get to our new music picks of the week, we always want to hear from you, the Sound Up Pod Squad. And this week, we have a Throwback Thursday question for you. We got some great responses, too. What is your favorite band logo? That's a great question, Roger, by the way. I like that one a lot. Aaron V. Olson says, I think Kiss, Zeppelin, Van Halen, ZZ Top, and Maiden were my go-tos. I used to get asked to draw logos on folders and paper-covered books all the time. The most asked one was the Stones' Hot Lips logo. I do feel like that's the most famous.
Probably the most famous. Zeppelin, I assume he means the Zoso
thing. Yeah.
Not the, I don't know, the Swan Song logo, but that's right.
Or the writing of Led Zeppelin is that specific font.
Yeah.
Guess that's true. I'm assuming it probably means the Zoso markings.
Yeah.
Greg Chance wrote, I love the Twisted Sister logo, but wanted something themed. So on my Spanish book, I like that these are, when you go to logos, it immediately is, what did you draw on the covers of your notebooks and school books? Wanted something themed. So on my Spanish book, I fashioned a logo in the same font for Hermana Retorcida. My Spanish, but Twisted Sister in Spanish.
I definitely had a notebook with a TS logo drawn on it.
You didn't do it in different languages for your different
No.
study?
I could barely do it in the language I am native to. So I'll stick to that.
That was difficult enough.
It still is.
David Luttrell, every book I had, the theme continues. Every book I had contained crude drawings of the Kiss and Van Halen logos.
I like it. Brent Sowers, our friend Brent Sowers, just says Rat, 7th grade.
Boom.
I don't know
Done.
what the 7th grade, like, again, I assume that means on the books, on the notebooks in,
Seventh grade.
at that moment, and we would understand it from there. That seems to be the universal experience here.
That's where Brett was at. Brett was at when Out of the Cellar came out. He was in 7th grade rocking. Danielle Sloan Broad, our friend. We used Van Halen's VH logo, but modified it to HB for my son's music-themed bar mitzvah several years ago. How rocking.
Well, Weezer's modified their logo to be the VH logo. They've used the W with the wings for years.
Yep, that is also true. And taking us out of 80s metal, some 70s metal, Ray Seal.
Oh, my God.
I have always loved the Einstürzende Neubauten logo. Wikipedia says Einstürzende Neubauten's logo is an appropriation by the band of an archaic ideogram or petroglyph. It appears to be a stick figure with a circle, dot, or soul as its head. The provenance of the logo has been attributed to the sacred ring of Stonehenge or possibly to an Olmec Native American cave, and most directly in one source to ancient Chinese origins. So a little history lesson with that selection from Ray.
I cannot, in my mind, picture what the Einstürzende Neubauten logo is.
I totally can. A little, it's like a hieroglyph, petroglyph type figure with a round, with a head. Like, yeah, I know what that is. So, you got any favorites? You got a band logo of choice?
For me, I have to say that the Van Halen logo is my favorite. I just love the Van Halen logo. You know, the Stones would be a close second.
No love from anybody but me here for the Public Enemy logo.
Oh, you know, that's good one. Or Wu-Tang.
Or Wu-Tang. That is absolutely right. That is even a better answer. Showing my age slightly by Public Enemy coming up first, but the Wu-Tang logo is probably the most visible in the modern world. That is absolutely right.
I am seeing them. I'm seeing currently on T-shirts from
oh, absolutely, yes.
Around, you know, and I'm seeing them even on newscasters on television. Swear to you, I've seen that.
That's made it everywhere. Or I guess it's the Nirvana, you know, smiley face. You know,
is that considered a logo?
A logo out of the Chili Peppers, asterisk.
Yeah,
the ones that you do see on shirts still. Those would be some of them. We heard from the 70s and 80s folks. We did not hear from the 90s folks. These are all some 90s logos we're talking about here. So,
yeah.
All right. Well.
All right.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Indeed. We love hearing from you.
Concert reviews, again, Coachella reviews. You can write to us, connect@sounduppod.com, either as a written email or talk into your phone and send it as a voice message. We love to play those and actually hear from you. Check in with whatever's on your mind.
And if you have a child in the 7th grade currently, if you could please have him draw the Sound Up logo on a notebook and send us a photo, we'd really appreciate it.
All right, we're going to jump to some new music picks. I think we all have a fair amount. I'll start it off with something new that I just stumbled across last night. I hadn't even heard anything about it. I'm a big fan of the dance duo Bob Moses. And there is new Bob Moses out, a song called Time of Your Life. These guys hooked me in, especially during COVID. Believe it or not, they did this wild set at a fire tower out in the middle of, I forget which park they were in. And they literally played on each level of the fire tower. Just great music. And that was it. I was a fan of theirs from then on. So Time of Your Life, brand new from Bob Moses, just out. And I'm hearing about some dates, but nothing specific yet. They haven't really announced it. Also, talking about Green Day at Coachella, Smash It Like Belushi, killer. I love it. I feel like Green Day is back with that one. And I'm looking for the rest of the record. I think, I don't know, you guys tell me. I feel like people sort of have come and gone and then come back on Green Day. I've been with them all along. Even they stumbled a bit.
I think that's right. It'd be interesting to see if Coachella and this, is there a little bit of renaissance or resurgence around them? Is there some energy around them right now?
As much crap as those guys got, they're fake punk and all this. If you look at the output, the stuff that Billie Joe has led this band through, I find him to be impressive. He gets a show on Broadway, and it wasn't just a hack Broadway show. It was a great show, great music, great message. I give them tons of credit. And I love the band for that, as well as just kicking ass, you know? Finally, had no idea, and I'm, to be honest, not completely clear on how or why this is here. Frou Frou, Imogen Heap, who I love, now has, it's a reissue and a remix. A New Kind of Love is something that they put out in 22, I want to say. And this is that song, but it is a Molo 1K. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that remixer right. A remix. And there's no new music planned. There's no discussion of that. And this seems to be just something that they pulled out of their library and chose to remix. I wish I could be more definitive. I don't know why. I don't know why it's here, but I'm happy it is. The latest from Frou Frou. The latest remix from Frou Frou. That's what I got.
All right. I got a couple. One is new music from Jarvis Cocker and Pulp, just in time to get out there ahead of the Oasis reunion dates. Keep the Britpop
That's going to keep the beef going.
But this is ahead of what will be the first Pulp album in 24 years. There was a single last year that was sort of starting this. And then there's one, I think, about a dozen years ago. And there hasn't been a Pulp record since 2001. A song called Spike Island, which apparently refers to a famous, disastrous Stone Roses gig that happened on Spike Island. And is Pulp Jarvis kind of saying, maybe we're going to come back and screw it all up. Like Stone Roses did at that show and everybody hated it, and maybe you don't really want to hear from us anymore, is kind of what this song is. But a big anthemic, kind of a disco thing going on, like a dancey beat that's going on here. And again, I find the timing amusing to get a new Pulp album literally right as the Oasis tour will be rolling out. But if you're interested in that chapter in history at all, it's a pretty fun song. So that. And my second song comes from an artist named Lexi Jones. Maybe somewhere in your head you've thought, have I heard of Lexi Jones before? And maybe not. Lexi Jones is David Bowie's daughter, who very quietly released a solo album last week. The album is called Xandri with an X, and it's a very little, quiet, sort of spare indie rock record. A little bit dancey in places, a little bit poppy in places, but really mostly just sort of a kind of a singer-songwriter-y record. Look, I'll admit, the interest is sort of the novelty of David Bowie's daughter, who we haven't heard from or seen, and there was no hoopla around this at all. She just kind of put it out there. But there's some songs on it that I like quite a lot. The first single, such as it is the first track. But the one that I actually liked is the second song on the album, which is called Cracks of Me, which is sort of a weird little guitar song, but there's a little piano figure that plays throughout, kind of out of sync, where you keep thinking like, wait, was that a mistake? Was that? Until you kind of find the rhythm for it, figure out that it's supposed to be doing that. And so an interesting little song. I don't think there's any particular ambitions other than, she wanted to do it. But again, no press, no stuff around it. So if you're curious, Lexi Jones, the album is Xandri, and I'm saying start with the song Cracks of Me. And those are mine for the week. Roger Coletti.
So I agree with Mark. I really love Smash It Like Belushi by Green Day. And I blow kind of hot and cold on Green Day for a number of reasons, but when they do something right, they really do nail it. And what I love about this song is it reminds me of the silliness that punk rock could have, that the Ramones would do quite often, and just have these absurd songs and these just fun punk rock, short, tight, hit it kind of songs. And this kind of reminded me of that. It reminded me of kind of a Ramones-y kind of feel to it. And it's nice that a band that can give you big message songs and give you these over-the-top kind of punk rock opera things can still turn around and just do a dirty punk rock song. And really, really appreciate that song by them. Another song I found this week, and maybe one of you guys know about this artist, Ernest.
Oh yeah, big force in this country. It's a big writer in the country world. I never know if he's actually affiliated with Hardy or if they just sort of overlap a lot. But one of these guys, and with definitely a sort of a rock thing going on within the country space.
Mm-hmm. So he's got an album coming out called The Cadillac Sessions, and it's with a group of people that's coming out on May 9th. But he released one song called Getting Gone, featuring Snoop Dogg. Now, anytime I hear featuring so-and-so or so-and-so, I get a little worried that this is going to be goofy. This is going to be silly. But this is, in my opinion, in a long time, the best use of Snoop Dogg as a guest spot on a song. This is a very Johnny Cash-like outlaw country kind of spoken, half sung kind of thing, which Snoop does perfectly. His verse on this song feels so natural, feels so part of what this is, and it's just perfectly placed. And I was like, damn, that's good. It's a good song, and Snoop makes it better. And that's really, really cool. So check out Getting Gone. It's a really cool song. So the last one is this new viral song by Sophie Powers, who apparently a couple of weeks ago, she appeared on American Idol in the audition process and sang this song called Shut the Fuck Up, which is, I don't know if you've seen this song.
That's from Idol?
That was
I've
an
seen
Idol
that.
audition. It's the greatest song. And you know, it's like these nonsensical lyrics that lead it up. And then it's just a list of things that should shut the fuck up, like dinosaurs and laundry and babies. And it's amazing. It's my favorite song right now.
Oh my God, I had no idea that that's where that came from. And I thought it was just like a meme.
No. Go on your phone after this. You could watch her do the song. She does it. It's her audition on American Idol, which was, I mean, she's, you know, an internet star. It was very smart of her to go do that because it totally worked.
Amazing.
Covering some ground.
Yeah. All right, you have your assignments. Now you'll know where you're headed after we shut this thing down. You're going to go and check out our Sound Up soundtrack playlist. You can find it on Spotify. We always add to it. It's a running playlist. So all that you hear us talk about is just added on to what we've tipped you to so far this year. To hear all the music that we talk about, just go and hit us up on Spotify. That wraps this edition of Sound Up. You can check us out on socials for exclusive content and more, all at Sound Up Pod. We thank you for listening.
And remember, give us a 5-star review, like our Facebook page. Make sure to check us out on Instagram, X, Blue Sky, and TikTok. And always email us at connect@sounduppod.com. We'll catch you next time.
Sound Up is hosted by Mark Goodman and Alan Light, produced by Roger That Media, distributed by Revolver Podcasts. Theme music by Smile from Tokyo. For more information, go to sounduppod.com. Roger that.